Mewgenics is a perfect game. Just kidding, it's not. It has its flaws, and I thought that today I would show my Mewgenics nitpicks. Edmund McMillan, you little fucker, whether you're watching or some mod people that could make mods to fix these things, I would love to see these things fixed. We're going to start off with one of the biggest nitpicks, and that is there is no way to do custom movement. Now, I don't think this should be the default. It's usually not going to come into play. Usually it's more convenient to just press a tile and go there in some way. However, I think Edmund at some point has said that the only place where this sucks is Fenrir, the terrible mini-boss that we all hate. But I definitely disagree with that. The biggest thing in my opinion is just trample in general. If you have a cat with trample and you kind of rely on that, it sucks to not have custom movement. Custom movement would be so good for that. It just, the movement in this game does not factor in trample. I've had builds where I have a lot of speed and I could go through all of these enemies, but I go through like one. The biggest example is definitely Druid's elk form. It just, I wish that was good. The elk form, by the way, this is a side nitpick. Why does it lower your constitution? You are turning from a cat into an elk. See these two animals. Look at them to scale. The coin cap should be higher than 99. I often go above it. Seeing coin cap as an Isaac, but in Isaac you don't really go above it that often. In Mewgenics, like, come on, you get that coin cap, okay? I guess the problem is like it's either 99 or a really awkward number because it can't be 999. That'll be too much. Like if you have some way of gathering too many coins, that's too much from one run. Okay, I would do 200. That's my cap. That's what I would do. I also have a musical nitpick. Why is the radio version of Catfight? Why does it have such a long ass intro? I'm fine with how the intro sounds, but it's not very interesting, and it lasts like a full minute almost, I think, which is too long. Now, I love the Psychic. It's one of my favorite classes, but I wish it had range shown for line of sight when you move. You know how the other classes have their range shown? Psychic does not, because its basic attack has infinite range. However, it has a lot of abilities that are based on just line of sight and nothing else. So I wish that the range shown was just line of sight. Sometimes it's not exactly clear what line of sight is, and also sometimes I just forget about bodies because I'm stupid. And by the way, this is another nitpick. Why do bodies and small enemies stop line of sight? I don't know, I feel like if I was a cat and there was like a maggot on the ground, I could probably see farther, like, you know, through that maggot because it's on the ground. Or if there's a dead little creature, like, you know. Speaking of range issues, it's often that spells do not specify what range they work at, and it really sucks when there's a spell that you don't know what range it is, so you assume it's like 3 or 4 or whatever, and it turns out to be adjacent. Usually it would specify adjacent unit or something like that, but it doesn't always. So when it doesn't, and you expect that it's higher than that, and it isn't, that sucks. That is stupid. Why is that a thing? Edmund McMillan, you little fucker. I think, honestly, range should be added as a third stat in addition to mana and damage. Maybe you'd think it would flutter like that too much, but I think it's great to have clarity. Even when the adjacent thing is not true, you don't know the spell's range. Like, sometimes it says in range 3, but often it would not say that. It's really messy and inconsistent, which, by the way, is a pretty big problem in this game in general. Phrasing being inconsistent or things not being said consistently. I just said the same thing. That's the problem. Saying the same thing in 2 different ways. Confusing, okay? Like, for example, play dead says get downed, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna get down. Russian short her roulette says there's a 1 in 6 chance this will kill you, which sounds a lot worse. That sounds like it is an insta kill. You fucking die, and it's not that. You get downed, but the game doesn't say that because the game is stupid, okay? Why would it be phrased like that? And this is also a problem with enemies that say this insta kills you. Now, most of them down you, but there's a few that eat you, the biggest example being Daddy Shark. So I thought that the following ones that just down you, that was an insta-kill in the same way the Daddy Shark is, which would be insane. Why would that be in the first area, lab? But no, it downs you. That should be specified in some way. Anyone else was said badly? I don't know, that's a weird segue. This is not a nitpick about the game itself, but the marketing is kind of bad. One of the trailers was just like cats humping each other. There was a lot of emphasis on the cats having sex part of the game, which in my opinion is not the fun part of the game. It surely is somebody's favorite part. I don't want to talk to that person, but that's not like what I enjoy about the game. I don't know why that was marketed so heavily. It actually turned a friend of mine away from the game. She was maybe not going to play it at all until she saw gameplay of another friend playing it. Why, Ed McMillan, you little fucker? I know you're a freak, but come on. Another thing that's just not clear is sometimes what tribe an enemy is. That might not sound important, but sometimes it is. Like I have this one mutation that makes my basic attack spawn water tiles, so it also makes it water element. If you don't know, plant enemies get healed by water element. Sometimes it's not really clear when you're the creator of what is a plant. Like, is this thing a plant? Tell me right now, is this a plant? Yes, it is a plant. I don't know what it is, but I don't know why it looks like that. It is a plant, and there's nothing that specifies that, because it doesn't really look like one. It just kind of looks like globules. Maybe you think, oh, it's some kind of alien globule monster, but no, it's a plant. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it gets healed by water, and you don't know that. I wish there was some marker, or maybe there is, maybe I missed it, but I don't think there is. Sometimes you might not be sure if a UFO is a robot that can be energized when you hit it with electric damage. The answer is yes, it would. You didn't know for sure, did you? Because a UFO is not a robot. It is a machine. Maybe it's a robot. I don't know. Now we're gonna go into some nitpicks that I have about the house part of the game. Firstly, I have a lot of cats, so it's hard to find them. So when I'm looking at a kitten and I want to see its parents, I can go into its family tree and look at its parents, but I can't find them because I have too many cats, and maybe that's a skill issue. I don't know. But it's hard to find them, and I wish there was a way to click in the family tree and then go to that cat. You know what I mean? That would be very nice. Maybe, I don't know, maybe this kitten has a birth defect. I'm like, oh, did I have that birth defect on one of my cats? Turns out I did. I gotta get rid of that guy. This is a smaller one, but you can't place hanging items in the attic because it goes diagonally, even though in the editor it kind of looks like you should be able to. I wish you could. I don't know, maybe it wouldn't look right, but I feel like it's just kind of annoying that you can't. Now we're going to do everybody's favorite segment of this video, which is going to be me complaining that the game is too hard. Generally, Mewgenics has a pretty good difficulty balance, but there's some things that are stupid. Firstly, lab is too hard. What were they thinking? There's so many really annoying enemies in lab, and it is the first area of a run. That should not be allowed. A lot of these enemies should be toned down quite a lot. You know what other area I think is the problem? This is not even necessarily about being hard, but it's so annoying. I hate caves so much. It's the worst area in the game. Its theme is kind of just not letting you play the game. It's not letting you do stuff. Personally, as a video gamer, I like doing things. I like taking actions. Is that so crazy that I like that, Edmund McMillan, you little fucker? Is it so crazy of me to get mad when you web me, or you counterspell me, or you dodge me? That's so annoying. Okay, back to stuff that is too hard rather than too annoying. Spewer. Fuck Spewer. He has so many actions. He can heal himself. He can spit lava and tar on you in the first area. He's a first area boss. What are you talking about? And the craziest thing is that you're either gonna be like, yay, Stacy, woo, I'm having so much fun right now. Or you're gonna be like, you're either gonna be the lyrics of Endless Misery or the vibe of Endless Misery. Okay, these have been a bit specific to specific areas, but now let's do something a little more broad. If you have a 1 HP enemy and it is a champion, it goes from 1 HP to 5. Like, it makes infested pairs so stupidly not fun in hard mode. Every time I go to that cursed place, I pray that Rocky Boba will be there. Now, some enemies you really don't want to get close to, and that's fair. That's good that you have that kind of enemy. But it's not exactly handled well. Sometimes they spawn close to you and are just able to get you. It's designed of like, you don't want them to do a terrible thing, but it's easy to not have them do the terrible thing. However, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you can just get fucked because you spawned close enough to the enemy and they get the turn first. That has happened to me and it's so annoying to either get charmed by that or get a permanent injury from those motherfuckers who, by the way, they don't even have that as a restriction. They could throw a rock at you and give you an injury. That's dumb. That's stupid. That's so stupid and dumb. Speaking of charm, which was mentioned there, in general, charm sucks. It's like the worst thing that can happen to you. If you have all of your cats either charmed or downed, you just lose, but only for some of them, and that's really inconsistent. You lose if you're fighting Marshmallow or the Probers and maybe something else, I don't know, but there's some other chum stuff that you don't lose automatically, and it's even more stupid if you're doing a solo run, because if you get charmed at all by those things, you fucking die, you lose. What? Edmund Macmillan, you little fucker. That makes the moon like unbearable on solo runs. I haven't done one there, but I'm imagining that it would be the worst experience that you could have on Earth. I'd rather go to hell. It's just pretty tame in this game. Okay, specific boss nitpick here. I like Soyak. It's so much better than Villier, but still bro has his issues because not only is there probably not enough forms, but I think the forms should change his description. You could miss the thing that appears, or you could just not know what it does. Like, the first time you fought this guy, did you really know what this creature does? Do you really remember that? Because I didn't, and I got my fucking projectiles reflected. So please add a description of what's gonna happen to me. So yeah, that was my nitpicks for Mewgenics. Still, despite all of that negativity, I think this game is peak. It is so good. But if you also have some of your nitpicks that you would like to share in the comments, please tell me. Maybe I'll make a part 2 of this concept. I don't know if I can come up with more of my own. I'm gonna keep playing the game, and as I get to the harder difficulties, I might find more nitpicks. Look at the little guy. There's a kitty. Oh, no, I can't point in a way that works for the camera. Kitty. There's a kitty.